Hello, welcome to everybody to my online biology class. I am Dr. Devabrata Mukherjee, PGT Biology, Kendriya Vidyalaya number 1 Kachapada. Today, I would like to explain the concept of the pre-fertilization structures and events under the lesson 2, sexual reproduction in flowering plants, class 12 biology. We have to know the what is the content for discussion today. We will study in the class flower, a fascinating organ of angiosperms, then pre-fertilization, stamen, microsporangium and pollen grain, the pistil, megasporangium and the embryo sac. So flower is a fascinating organ of angiosperms, you know. So here I have shown you the picture of flower. So the next, here the YouTube links are shown of all chapters. So pre-fertilization events means what and how does it originate? Actually, the angiosperms consists of a pool of stamens which are representing the male reproductive organ and gynoecium, the female organ. So the stamen, microsporangium and the pollen grain, the two parts of a typical stamen, that is the long and slender stalk, that is called filament, and the next one is anther, which is the terminal, generally bilobe structure called the anther. So here I have shown you the picture of the anther as well as the filament, and simultaneously, if you cut the section of anther, you will be seeing the pollen grains, pollen sac, line of descent. So all will be explained subsequently. So friends, the proximal end of the filament is attached to thalamus on the petal of a flower. The number and length of stamen are variable in flowers of different species. A typical angiosperm anther is bilobed. Often a longitudinal groups are there which are being run lengthwise separating the theca. The bilobe nature of an anther is very distinct in the transverse section of the anther. So next we are talking about the microsporangium. The anther is a four-sided, there is a tetragonal structure. There will be the four microsporangia which are located at the corner, which I have shown you in this picture, which is very clear. Four-sided also, four in corners of it. So when you talk about, the microsporangia develop further, become the pollen sac. They extend longitudinally all through the length of an anther and are packed with the pollen grains. So here is a clear picture, transverse section of a mature anther. You will see the enlarged view of the microsporangium. Here you will be seeing the layers, the endothecium, middle layer, and this tapetum is also there, and there will be the sporogenous tissue. So like this distribution, and the second one is the enlarged view of a microscope, how the pollen grains are coming out. Let's discuss subsequently. How a microsporangium is there, it will appear near circular in outline. As you see, they are from outside to inside. Epidermis, endothecium, middle layer, and tapetum. Here you see it is from the outside to inside. It will be the parts are there: epidermis, endothecium, middle layer, and tapetum. So now the what is the function? The outer three wall layers performing the protection, and that will help the daces of anther to release the pollen. And this one is a enlarged view of a microsporangium. There will be the epidermis, endothecium, middle layer, tapetum. And this porogenous tissue, there will be these connective structure which is distinctly marked. Students, then we will talk about the tapetum. Innermost one layer is tapetum. Function significant. Nourishing the developing pollen grain. Cells of a tapetum possessing dense cytoplasm generally have more than one nucleus, and sporogenous tissue is present inside. Young anther within a group of the compactly arranged homogeneous cells are called sporogenous tissue, occupies the center of each microsporangium. So the microsporogenesis is the process. As the anther develops, the cells of a sporogenous tissue undergo the meiotic divisions to form the microspore tetrad. As each of a sporogenous tissue is capable of giving rise to a microspore tetrad, each one of a potential pollen or the microspore mother cell. Then coming to concept of microsporogenesis. This is simply a process by which the microspores are formed from a pollen mother cell, EMC, to meiosis, that is called microsporogenesis. And these microspores are arranged in a cluster of four cells, the microspore tetrad. As the anther mature and dehydrates, the microspores dissociate from each other, develop into the pollen grain. Inside each microsporangium, several thousands of microspores pollen grains are formed that are released with the dehiscence of anther. So here is the scanning electron micrograph of few pollen grains. So beautiful geometrical structures, orientation. You see this one is the inner structure. So now the pollen grains are representing male gametophytes, 25 to 50 micrometers in diameter. There will be the prominent two layers. One is there. Outermost exine, which is being made up of sporopollenin, which is the most resistant organic material known. It can withstand high temperature and strong acids alkali. No enzyme can degrade it so far known. Next one, it is not continuous. There is a exine has the prominent apertures also. Here in the picture it has been shown. These apertures called Chern pores. Why the pore? Because sporopollenin is absent. Pollen grains are well preserved as a fossil because of the presence of sporopollenin. The exine exhibits fascinating array of pattern of the design. So sporopollenin taking an important role. So here is a enlarged view of a pollen grain we are showing. Two types of cells are there, vegetative cell and the generative cell. And there will be the asymmetric spindle is there. There are the vacuoles and the nucleus and having the double cell. So the entire wall of a inner wall of the pollen grain is a very thin and continuous layer that is a cellulose and pectin. Cytoplasm of a pollen grain surrounded by a plasma membrane. What about the mature pollen grain? Contains two cells. I have said you already. Here you see the vegetative cell and this being generative cell. What is the function of vegetative cell? Which is bigger, food reserve, irregular shaped nucleus. Let us go back to the picture. It is the vegetative cell which is been bigger in size. Let's then talk about these being generative cell. It has shown here. I have been showing you big vegetative cell, small generative cell. It is being generative cell is small, floats in the cytoplasm of the vegetative cell in spindle shaped with dense cytoplasm and a nucleus. In over 60% of the angiosperms, pollen grain are shed at the two-cell stage. In these remaining species, generative cell divides mitotically to give rise to two male gametes. So ultimately, the three-cell stage are found. So now the severe allergies also there. Pollen grain of many species cause severe allergy, bronchial afflictions in some people, often leading to the chronic respiratory disorder, asthma and the bronchitis. We know Parthenium of the carrot grass that came into India to a containment with the imported wheat has become ubiquitous in occurrence, causes the pollen allergy. Here the Parthenium spore and this carrot grass. So what is the usefulness of pollen grain? First one, it is rich in nutrients, used as a pollen tablets as a food supplement. In Western country, large number of pollen products in form of tablet syrups. It has a claim to becoming the preference of the athletes and racehorses. So here is the pollen products are found. So the viability of the pollen grain, period for which pollen grain remain viable is highly variable. In some cereals, rice, wheat, pollen grain have lost the viability within 30 minutes, but in some members of Rosaceae, Leguminaceae, and Solanaceae, viable for the months. So the pollen bank picture is there. Pollen bank, it is possible to store pollen grain of large number of species for years in the liquid nitrogen minus 196 degrees Celsius. And such stored pollen grain can be used as a pollen bank, similar to seed bank also. So here is a cartoon you see, pollen gland regarding. Then we are talking about a pistil. In the gynoecium represents female reproductive part of a flower, which is monocarpellary. Gynoecium may consist of single pistil hibiscus, multicarpellary more than one pistil. It might be syncarpous. There are more than one. Pistils may be been fused together. Example, papaver. Apocarpus may be free. That is the mycaria. Here is a pictorial representation. You see stigma, style, and ovary, and the variation are found. So the three parts of a pistil are shown here: stigma, style, and ovary. So now, stigma's function. It is a landing platform for the pollen grains. Style, elongated slender part beneath the stigma. And ovary, basal bulge part of a pistil. Inside the ovary, there is the ovarian cavity locule, and the placenta is located inside the ovarian cavity. Next, we will talk about the megasporangium, that is ovule. Arise from the placenta are the megasporangia, that is the ovules. The number of ovules in an ovary may be one in wheat and paddy to many papaya, watermelon, orchids, as we see. Next, we will talk about structure of a typical angiosperm ovules, the parts hilum, funicule, micropyles, outer and inner integument, nucellus, embryo sac, chalazial pore. Let's discuss subsequently. The ovule is a small structure which is attached to placenta by means of a stalk called funicule. Body of ovule fuses with the funicule, the region called hilum. Hilum is representing the junction between ovule and piece of a funicule. Each ovule one or two protective envelope integuments. So typical angiosperm ovules you follow. Integuments encircle the ovule except at the tip where a small opening called the micropyle is organized. Opposite to micropylar end is a chalazial end, representing the basal part of the ovule. Nucellus, enlarged, enclosed within the integument as a mass of cell called the nucellus. Cells of the nucellus have abundant reserved food material. Located in the nucellus is the embryo sac or the female gametophytes. And ovule generally has a single embryo sac formed from a megaspore through the reductional division. So that is the distribution here. Parts of a ovule, micropylar end, nucellus, megaspore, mother cell. And next, subsequently diad, tetrad. See, subsequently we shall explain about it. So the megasporogenesis, the process of formation of the megaspore from the megaspore mother cell is called megasporogenesis. Actually, ovule differentiate a single megaspore mother cell in the micropylar region of a nucellus. It is a large cell containing dense cytoplasm. MMC undergoes the meiotic division, and ultimately, in a this being the subsequently, we have to talk about the flowering plants. We will see, the subsequently ovules generally differentiate into these being megaspore mother cell, as we have said. So female gametophytes are formed in a majority of the flowering plant. One of the megaspore is functional, other three degenerate. Only the functional megaspore develops into the female gametophyte embryo sac. This method of embryo sac formation is called the monosporic development, which is very important term. Let's be going back to the pictures again. So let's talk about the piece of this embryo sac. How is it formed? The this nucleus of a functional megaspore divides mitotically to form two nuclei, move to the opposite pole, forming two nucleate embryo sac. Two more sequential mitotic nuclear divisions, formation of four nucleate later eight nucleate stage of the embryo sac. These mitotic divisions are strictly free nuclear. That is the nuclear division not followed by the immediately cell wall formation. So the ultimately 8 nucleus stage to central cell. After the 8 nucleus stage, cell walls are laid down, leading to the organization of typical female gametophytes or embryo sac. 6 of the 8 nuclei are surrounded by cell walls and organized into cells. The remaining 2 nuclei all the polar nuclei are situated below the egg apparatus in the large central cell. So cell within the embryo sac now. Three cells are grouped together at a micropylar end, constitute the egg apparatus. Egg apparatus constitute of two synergids and one egg cell. The synergids have special cellular thickenings at a micropylar tip called filiform apparatus, which play an important role to guide to the pollen tube into the synergids. Three cells are at the chalazal end called the antipodals. The large central cell has two polar nuclei. Thus, a typical angiosperm embryo sac at maturity through 8 nucleate having 7 cells. So here I am showing you the picture. Here we see the chalazal end. The antipodal cells are there. Central polar nuclei, central cell, egg is there, synergids and the filiform apparatus. So we have been talked in the detail cell within the embryo sac. Now, students, you follow the assignment given to you. Acknowledgements are there, the links I have shared, and the references. Some of these websites followed. YouTube links are there. So, thank you very much.